Hey, thanks so much for tuning into the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. Today is Talk About It Tuesday, a day that we want you to sit down with somebody. I love interacting with somebody. I love hearing people's perspectives. I love hearing people's stories. I love learning and growing because I know that it requires other people in order for me personally to do that. And I feel like that's how God created all of us. God created us to be in community. And so I want to encourage you to find somebody, if you don't have somebody that you are consistently going to for advice, for that's somebody that knows you inside and out, and that wants the best for you. Not just a cheerleader, not just somebody that is going to just like, oh, you're amazing. That's good to have that encouragement, but you need to have some corrective criticism as well. I know that sometimes we don't like to hear that, but how can we grow? We can grow by learning and growing from each other. Because let's face it, we all have blind spots, and we consider most of the time our growth, either physical growth or spiritual growth or emotional growth, based off of intentions rather than reality. And so let's confront the brutal facts. And sometimes, most of the time, it takes someone else for us to realize that about ourselves. All right, so let's sit down and let's talk to somebody today. So we're going to be talking about God's faithfulness all week long, but let me just pose a question to you. Where do you find your strength? We are at war spiritually. The enemy, the devil, he is prowling around like a lion, the scripture says, and that he is the father of lies, that he speaks his native tongue when he lies, like no truth comes out of his mouth. And so because we are at war, we need to find our strength. So a question that we have to consistently ask ourselves is, where are we finding our strengths? Where do we find our dependency, and what are we leaning on? Are we leaning on other people? Are we leaning on our own self? And really the encouragement for all of us that we need to do is we need to lean on his word. We need to lean on him and not our own understanding. Proverbs 3 talks about and how when we do that, he will direct our path. He will make the path straight. But it requires us to acknowledge him. It requires us to depend upon him for strength, for provision, for wisdom, and not our own understanding. Listen to 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, as Paul writes to the church of Thessalonica. He says this, when he goes to, hey, we're at war here, and the wicked and the evil one is coming at us, but you know what? But the Lord is faithful. 2 Thessalonians 3:3 says this, but the Lord is faithful, and he will strengthen you and protect you from the evil one. And so let that be an encouragement to you personally. And the encouragement for you is that you would have that encouragement for somebody else. If you have somebody in your life that is just getting beat up by the enemy, the devil, and just very discouraged and just in a valley, encourage them with this verse right here, 2 Thessalonians 3:3, and then I'll continue on the next two verses. We have the confidence in the Lord that you are doing and will continue to do the things we command. And then he says in verse 5, may the Lord, let this be a prayer for you, just like I'm having this be my prayer for all of you, and it's my prayer for myself as well. May the Lord direct your hearts into God's love and Christ's perseverance. Let's face it. We need Christ's perseverance. We need that endurance, because the enemy is relentless. He's going to continue to attack. He's going to continue to speak lies into your life. Where do we find our dependency? Where do we find our strength? It needs to be from the Lord, because the Lord is faithful and he will strengthen you. Let that be an encouragement to you. And as you choose to sit down with somebody today, may that be an encouragement that you say to that other person. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for another Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth.